Welcome to the Indian Newsling podcast.
Good afternoon, Ranjana ji. To readers and viewers of Indian Newsling platforms, we have Ranjana Patel, one of our community leaders, an inspirational leader who has been in the community workspace for many, many years. Her initiatives have led to many outcomes as far as the people are concerned. There have been fantastic outcomes. We have got Gandhi Nivas running because of her initiative. Some of us have had the good fortune of being associated with it. Ranjana ji, welcome, and let us talk about your community initiatives, because we have had an episode a little while ago about your business aspects and how successfully you ran primary healthcare service. Coming to the community aspects, tell us about Gandhi Nivas, about Serenity Foundation, and the other initiatives that have led your life in the past so many years.
I think, first of all, I have taken credit for the amazing people around me. And so with Gandhi Nivas, it was the police that did the referrals, it was the counselling service, Ayata, that did the services, and they are the gold in the whole program. They created it with what they needed, and I was just the middleman, the conductor in the middle, having the good fortune of being
But you're
there.
the captain, and the captain always gets the credit.
And I think I use the principles of health, that putting the patient first on what they need,
Right.
not what is dictated. And Sucharita and her team have done that so very well.
Sucharita, by the way, is in charge of a facility called Sahayata Services. Ranjana ji, tell us about the Gandhi Nivas initiative, how it came about, because while it's now 10 years, it will be 10 years in December since Gandhi Nivas began, yet many people, especially those who are new to the country, would not have an idea as to what it is and what it does. If you can take a couple of minutes to explain.
We both sit on the South Asian Advisory Board, and we were presented in 2014 in April that 4 out of 14 women killed were Indian, which is a quite anomaly year. But when the percentage was at 3% and this was at 19%, it just seemed completely out of kilter. That the area commander said, well, you're an advisory group, you need to tell us how your community's growing in South Auckland, we need to know how we have to change the way we do things. Not understanding family harm, I went to MIT to understand the problem. Counties Manukau Police brought all the providers together to see what we could do differently. And it became quite clear sitting on the peripheral that they were saying they need services for men and immediate services, because what was in the system is that if you are charged, you can get anger management. But that takes 6 weeks to go before the courts and 6 weeks after to get on a course. And so wherever a family harm incident that police have attended, it's 12 weeks before anyone gets any service.
Right.
And that makes it sort of, they've forgotten what they argued about or what the incident was about. So the providers were all saying we need something that's immediate, because most NGOs in New Zealand work Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. Most family harm incidents happen in the evening and
or in weekends.
In the weekend. Alcohol and drugs are a main contributor, and so it was important to have the services that dealt with all those issues. And the first year we worked solely on a foundation that we had started in our business as far back as East Tamaki Healthcare in the early 2000s, when we put up a community account where all community services would go through. And so then we formalized it into a charitable trust. Nirvana Trust, and then we made it to Serenity. And so when we started, it was difficult to get buy-in from all the other providers, because why are you working with the scum of the earth, the perpetrators?
Yeah.
You need more victim services. But when our statistics are 1 in 3 women is abused, 1 in 6 boys are abused, and every 4 minutes police are called to a family harm incident, and they believe only 20% of women pick up the phone.
Yeah.
So if you do the maths, in less than a minute something is happening in someone's household. And with Women's Refuge, they say 90% of women take the men back and they've been given no tools to deal with the next time. So giving people tools and how to change behaviour was the key to this program. And it's not just working with the man, you have to work with the whole family, because you can work with the man in a house, but then you send him back to that same environment. The occurrences are going to happen again. So working with the whole family is our biggest point of difference. It's 24/7, working with the whole family. Qualified and registered staff is another must, because sometimes you have one chance of having the conversation with a man and he may not be ready for change. We know in health, smoking is something perhaps 3 or 4 times before you keep asking people, do you need help stopping smoking? They'll be no. But perhaps you hit them on the 3rd or 4th time, say, yeah, perhaps I'd like a patch. So it's the same concept with family harm. The men may not be ready to change, but when they are, the services are there. And phenomenal outcomes.
And of course, we've had Massey University research into this, which has proved the success of the program that Gandhi Nivas has been implemented. What are the challenges that you continue to face as far as Gandhi Nivas' financial challenges?
Financially, I think, first of all, the whole program is on Indian philosophy. Sort of no harm, peaceful way of dealing with a very, very volatile situation. And the name Gandhi Nivas, perhaps it's a barrier, people thinking it's only for Indian men. What we found from the first year is that it's predominantly Māori, Pacific, European, then Indian is what our clientele are in the home. So it's the Eastern philosophy, once again, that has worked really well with mainstream New Zealand, and once again putting the customer, patient first and seeing what they need. And it's not a cookie cut program that you have to do anger management. These are the 12 episodes, do 1, 2, 3, 4. You may need with a new migrant to do episode 6 first, to say these are New Zealand rules. So adapting to who's in front of you. I quite often walk into business meetings when I'm speaking in a sari, and I ask the audience, have you judged me already, fresh off the boat? You know, what in the hell is she dressed like that for? I said, you've already prejudged me, but my family's been here over 100 years. And yet you are going to always judge me. My children look the same, my grandchildren look the same. That's not going to change, but your bias towards what we look like because we're different is already set in your mind. So perhaps I'm the wrong colour leading it. I don't know what the barriers are, with 8 pieces of research from Massey, with Impact Lab, social return on investment of for every dollar invested, $12.80 gained, yet I can't seem to expand it. So I don't know what the barriers are. If it is who I am or what I am, that's a problem. Sort of needs to be looked into.
But we can't deny the fact that Gandhi Nivas has made an impact. It has been a successful venture. All it requires is I think it requires public funding, much more than at any time, and also a proper treatment from the government side. That's what I believe is Gandhi Nivas in need of at the moment, because over the last 10 years it has been proved that it's a good venture, that it has had good outcome, and the number of offenders, the number of people who re-offend has been falling. So that speaks for the success. We hope that Gandhi Nivas will continue to grow, and as we said 10 years ago, that if there are 21 districts of the police, then there should be 21 Gandhi Nivas homes, one in each district. We'll talk more about it, Ranjana ji. Now about your other community initiatives. We have had the pleasure of reporting your various other activities. You're with women in New Zealand. Now, recently you have been honored. You're being inducted into the Hall of Fame. Tell us about that and how that came about, and were you surprised when you were accorded that honor?
When I got the phone call, I sort of went a bit blank and I said, "Is this a joke?" And I was about to put the phone down. Because, you know, we all have the imposter syndrome. You know, in health, it was Gandhi that was the source. He's the doctor. And, you know, very few doctors think economically of running it as a business. But when you start with absolutely nothing, and survival was why you changed the way you did business. And that's the same principles we've used in Gandhi Nivas. You know, I was just, as I said, the conductor there. In Gandhi Nivas, I was just the conductor. That I think I'm just very fortunate and privileged to have amazing people around me.
But conductors make the bus move, you know, or anything move, the train move. Anyway, yeah.
And so, you know, with the Hall of Fame, first of all, I sort of was a bit reluctant, so they decided to come out and see me. And I looked up what it was, and I was quite shocked that in 30 years that no Indian has been inducted into the Hall of Fame. And so I thought, even if I feel like an imposter, you know, I've got to show other people that it can be done.
No, but I think this is a real turning point as far as the community is concerned, because being the first woman and being the first person of Indian origin to be inducted into that important Hall of Fame means something. I think it also shows that the country has recognized you, the country has accepted what you're doing and what your potential has been, which I think is a great honor for all of us, because it brings so much of mana into the community itself. So what are your future plans, Ranjana ji? Do you have any new initiatives that you're planning? We haven't spoken about the temple, but I will ask Kantibai that more of that, because he's been involved with it. You created an enormous, beautiful, magnificent complex in South Auckland, which people are talking about. It has to go on to the international platform. I'll talk to Kantibai about it. I don't think it is any less in importance than the one in Abu Dhabi. We have to just promote it properly here. We'll do that. Tell us, Ranjana ji, where to from here?
I think the temple is a very big part of it. And as you pointed out before, we have to get the younger people involved.
Are you getting them?
And now we are. Recently I started a women's group. And the two young ladies...
Where, at the temple?
At the temple. And two young ladies said, "We would like to do this." I says, "Yep, we'll do that." They work so hard at it, and getting people, you'll do the satsang, you'll do the bhajan, you'll be the MC. And there was a bit of reluctance from people, so they did the MCing. They sang the bhajan, all different ones. And then I said, "Look, even if 5 people turn up, don't worry, it's a start. I know you've put a lot of work into it." But on the first meeting, they had 50 ladies turn up.
Oh, very nice.
And all young people. And then the elderly ladies heard about it and said, "Well, why can't we come?" And they said, "Of course you can come." So the second meeting, they had over 100 people. And then after the second meeting, because they put a structure in place, they came to me to say, "Look, Sydney and Melbourne haven't managed to get off doing these things. Can we sort of put it in a package?" to say, if you want to run a woman's thing, you know, you have to do the religious part, you have to do the fun part, you have to do the singing part. Bhajans and everything have to be in there so people buy into it. So now they've packaged it, and they're talking to Sydney to say, okay, for the first one, would you like this package? And then the men came along saying, well, why can't we come to it? They says, well, no, you do your different one. So at the same time now, the young men have started their young ones.
So families come.
Families come.
Men, women, children.
And the children are taken care of. There's 2-3 that are early childhood teachers and teachers that create the same activity for the children.
Excellent.
And the men are participating, you know, in all of them. And they do it all on religious themes. Last month was Hindura. And so they got the children to make one, they got the ladies to make one, and they got the men to make it as part of the fun activity after the religious part. And so growing that community is very, very important. You know, a lot of new migrants there, and so the ability to take ownership where there's risk of failing, they're a bit uncertain in. So giving them the confidence to say, don't worry, failing once doesn't make you a failure.
No.
And I think that's an important part of it.
Excellent. We'll come to the temple one day, and then we want to shoot there and talk to people and see your activities, because we're really keen on promoting the temple, because we believe it's our pride, and it requires to be properly understood by communities, not just here, rest of the world. Thank you very much, Ranjana ji. It's been wonderful having you with us in our office today, and we hope to have more of you in the months to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Indian Newsling podcast.